Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Godzilla release by MacFarlane Toys. You can see as we kind of pick the package up, because the package is pretty big, so it's hard to really get it all in screen. You can see this is the DC Multiverse Superman vs. Godzilla set. So it's basically the equivalent of what I had also recently reviewed, which was the Kong set. So if you are interested in seeing the other half of this, make sure you check out the review that is up on the channel for that set as well. You can see, of course, here on the front you have a window area showing off the figures. On the side, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. And then I'm really excited to see this. The box art looks gorgeous here on the back. A really cool shot of Superman here kicking Godzilla in the face, which I personally don't think is a very good idea. And then over here on the side, again, Superman versus Godzilla. So let's pop this box open and check it out. So here is everything in the package now, out of the package, and looking pretty cool. I think the Superman figures do look quite nice, and Godzilla looks honestly quite awesome here at first glance, and definitely very large, just like the Kong figure was. So I'm going to go ahead, remove everything, and we'll take a look at each figure individually from there. So starting with the larger Superman figure, you can see it looks really nice, honestly. You know, a lot of emotion here in the face of Superman. Also some very nice, precise paintwork. We have the eyes applied really nicely. He's got blue eyes with a black pupil, and they are probably decals, but I can't tell for sure. We can also see some color for the eyebrows. The inside of the mouth looks really nice. Obviously, the mouth is wide open. We can see the tongue in there, the teeth, which again have very precise looking either paintwork or decals applied. The lips even have some color, and the overall sculpt is extremely impressive. You can see the structure and shape of, like, you know, Superman's skull and everything, like the head, really nicely done. Even tensing down here in the neck and throat region, which looks really good. And of course he has a very nice skin tone, very nicely applied for the most part. The paintwork is pretty precise. You can see that here with the hair. Again, it's not absolutely picture perfect, but pretty nicely done. We can see the ears sculpted out. The hair as well looks really good. Quite a bit, you know, of like curvatures and waviness to the hair of Superman. It is painted with a black. As you move down into the figure, into the chest area, we can see obviously where the suit begins, painted again with a really nice bluish tone. And of course we've got that classic Superman symbol here on the chest, and everything looks really nice. Also has a slight sort of shine to it, not a massive shine, but just slightly. We can very clearly see the muscle definition of Superman really nicely as well as you move all the way from the pecs down through the arms and everything. Again, he looks great. We've got the hands sculpted out. These hands are currently in the position of a fist. They look really nice overall. We can see the knuckles and everything. And as we continue to move down, we can see again the stomach region of Superman as well. We've got the belt painted out with a yellow. Of course, the little red tights that we have as we continue to move down. You can even see like creasing and wrinkles within the clothing, of course, as far as Superman's outfit goes. You see a little bit more of that as you move down into the upper part of the thighs. And again, we just continue to have that bluish tone as we move down into the boots, which the boots do have a reddish tone then. And it all looks really nice. As we move around to the back, one thing that is really cool as I stretch it out is we do, of course, have Superman's cape. But what's cool is it actually has a wire that kind of follows the outer edge, which allows you to sort of, you know, pose the cape and display the cape in pretty much any position you want. And I didn't really expect that coming into the figure. I think that's something that makes the figure even cooler overall. And of course, we also have the Superman symbol here on the back. Really nice soft material for the cape. And then when you lift the cape up and take a look at the back of Superman, again, we've got all of the nice musculature and everything shown off back there. As you can see, you can even get the cape again up pretty high. You can make it up really high if you really want to. As far as the articulation goes, of course, you can move the head left and right. We can also move it up and down. So he's got some really nice abilities to kind of nod. As we move down, we have arm articulation forward and back. It also can move out away from the body. It's extremely, extremely smooth. You can kind of see like a little, almost like a ball joint right there, like a floater it looks like in there. And then this area right here, we do as well have the ability to swivel this spot of the arm, and then of course move the elbow, which works really nicely. It looks like we can actually move it. Yeah, absolutely. So above and below the elbow, and then you also have the wrist, which can go forward and back and swivel. So you've got all sorts of different poses you can cook up when it comes to this one. You're going to see the exact same articulation when you move over to the other side, and then you of course also have midsection articulation, which can swivel left to right, also move forward and back. really nicely. You can actually like almost making it look like he's trying a backflip or something like that. I don't think we have midsection articulation. No, it kind of feels like it wiggles a little bit. So maybe, yeah, it looks like we do have a little forward and back possibly. Yep, definitely. But it doesn't swivel. As you move down, you can see you've got leg articulation, forward and back, also out away from the body, so he can throw some martial arts kicks if he wants to. And of course, pretend he's Chuck Norris. We can also, of course, articulate the knee. And as you can see, we've got a joint above and below the knee, just like we had for the elbow. So you can really articulate those legs quite nicely and get pretty much any and every pose you would like out of that area as well. And then you also have the ability to articulate the ankle area forward and back, and that can swivel as it does have a nice ball joint. So the Superman figure, when it comes to articulation, wow, you can even tilt the head side to side. Wow, that's super impressive articulation. We also actually have alternate hands for the large Superman figure. As you can see, the other hands were in the shape of a fist. These are more open-handed, so again, you can get like that flying motion and everything from Superman, which looks really cool. And you also have the smaller version, I guess, so it's sort of to scale with Godzilla, but again, in reality, it would absolutely not be to scale with Godzilla at all. Godzilla would be significantly larger than this Superman figure. But obviously, you're not going to see the same amount of, impressive detail. Even in general, the look of the Superman compared to the other one, I think looks quite a bit different and almost looks like an entirely different person playing Superman here. Also, the suit shows off a lot more muscle definition here because we have less articulation, like you have midsection articulated joints and stuff on the other one, so it kind of disrupts the midsection area, so you can see like the abs and everything on Superman here on this one. It does follow pretty much the same style, same trend as the other figure, but I just feel like he looks a little more muscular in this version. We don't have the wire cape or anything on this one. This one's just a rubber, but it looks really good. Again, when it comes to the cape, you've got all sorts of creases and everything and wrinkles, which helps to add some nice realism to the figure. As far as the articulation goes, you can turn the head left and right. And does it go forward and back? No, not really. Arm articulation forward and back. It does come out away from the body though, which is nice. We do have midsection articulation, a nice swivel in the midsection. You can articulate the legs forward and back. They don't come out away from the body, sadly. We do not have knee articulation or ankle articulation. So it's an okay figure, but obviously the other one is much better. And then when it comes to Godzilla, who is of course the star of the show here, and obviously the, figure in this set that I wanted the most because I don't necessarily collect Superman, but I do, of course, collect kaiju, especially Godzilla. You can see the head sculpt of Godzilla looks really good. They did a great job on the fine detail of the figure. The skin texture looks pretty vibrant. I'm not a massive fan of the paintwork. We do have, a nice dark, kind of grayish tone for the primary body color, and then we have like a light gray that they've used to dry brush a lot of the detail out. I think had they used more of like a beige wash or something, I feel like the figure would have looked better than giving it that dry brushing. You do see some red eyes. There is a black pupil in there. It's hard to see if they're perfectly placed, but they look okay. The teeth are also sculpted pretty decently, and they're painted okay. They are painted with a white, and they don't look too sloppy, maybe a little bit, but not terrible. We can see a tongue on the inside of the mouth, painted with a pink. Not much in the way of texturing or anything in there, unfortunately. We do, a little sloppiness back there. We do have an articulated jaw, but I noticed as soon as I got it out that it doesn't work too well. Like, I can't really get it closed any further than that, and that's about as far open as I can get it. So that would have been nice to have like some atomic breath or something with them, but that's about as far closed as it unfortunately gets. As we move back, we can see there is a little area of articulation actually in the head, which can swivel completely upside down if you want. It doesn't move forward and back or anything really, though. Maybe like it wobbles a little bit. But just like with Kong, the articulation on Godzilla is nowhere near as impressive as it was on the Superman figure. As we continue to move back, we do have that very armored skin texture of Godzilla. We can also see the gills down here. We basically just continue to have the grayish tone with the dry brushing. We start to pick up the plates here of Godzilla, and again, detail-wise, they look fantastic. Paint-wise, they're a little bit sloppy and lackluster. As we move down into the body, though, again, that skin texture is absolutely phenomenal on this figure. They did a really good job when it comes to the sculpt and making sure that this figure is incredibly highly detailed. It's probably sculpt-wise one of the nicest looking Godzillas I've seen in quite a while. As you move down into the arm, you can see again we still have that very armored sort of skin texture. We do, well, It's a little bit stuck right now, but there we go. You can move the arms forward and back. It doesn't come out away from the body. They're actually slightly flexible. It's like a really hard rubber material for the hands. As we continue to move down, again, we still have that very armored, almost like scoot-like appearance to the arms. As we lead into the hands, you can see some scoots down the fingers. The scales and everything, again, look really good. You can even see a little bit of like webbing there between the fingers, and the claws are sculpted nicely, but there isn't any paintwork specifically for the claws, different from the rest of the body. As we continue to move down, the skin texture continues to absolutely blow my mind. Again, it is a really nice looking Godzilla figure as far as the sculpt goes. Moving down into the legs, again, more of those really armored scoots moving down through the thigh. You can kind of make out a little bit of the muscle definition. We can see the knee right there in the front of the leg. You do also have the ability to articulate the legs forward and back, which work really nicely. And unfortunately, that's the only area of articulation in the legs of the figure. As we move down, we have a big bulging calf muscle back here. We've got more impressive skin texture. As you lead through, you can see the shin bone and everything in the front. And as you move into the foot sculpt looks great. You've got the toes kind of sculpted out. You can kind of make them out there as you move up. The nails as well look really good. There are even like cracks and crevices to the nails, but again, no variation of color or anything for the nails. Maybe even a little wash, like a tan wash to just the nails, would have helped to highlight some of the detail and just add a little bit of realism to the figure. As we move back up out into the tail, we switch it up as far as the material goes, because we have a much more rubbery material as you move out, because the tail is actually a wire tail. It seems like it is a little bit posable. It's not super posable, but I have been able to kind of bend it at least a little bit. We do also have the ability to articulate the tail a little bit, kind of like, you know, swivel it around. It does go up a little bit and moves left and right a little bit, but not much. But as you move down, again, we pretty much keep the same style of coloration, just basically like some dry brushing, I guess. It almost has like a bluish sort of a tint to it when you look at it from up above here. We have more of the spines and everything as you move down there throughout the remaining length of the tail of Godzilla, but it looks pretty cool. And if we actually come to the front, there is one more area that does have a little variation of color. We're gonna have to probably turn them sideways to really get a look at it here. We can see the throat and everything as we move down into the chest, and of course there is a little bit of extra variation of color right here as we have more of like a brown, sort of like a beige sort of dry brushing that moves down through the chest and then down into the stomach. We've got some, you know, kind of larger scoots there that dry brushing really covers. And as we continue to move down again through the underside, the entire underside features some very impressive fine detail as well. So the Godzilla is extremely cool looking. It's definitely very high quality. The articulation could definitely be better, but it's not bad. The paintwork, though, is fairly lackluster as a whole, and I really wish there was more to it. Or maybe they had approached the paintwork differently, maybe applied like a, you know, beige wash or something. I feel like it would have looked better, but it is what it is. As far as a size goes, the Superman is probably going to be the same size as the Batman, about 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. And then for the smaller Superman, a little over 3 inches or around 7.5 centimeters. Now, as far as Godzilla goes, he is going to be a whole lot larger than that. So if we move to the top here of Godzilla and the camera just sits there and wobbles, I'd say around 12 inches. You actually might get it a little bit taller if you move to the spines here in the back. So about 12.25 inches or around 31 centimeters in height. And then for a length, about 23 inches or around 58.5 centimeters. So pretty darn huge for a size comparison. There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A Human Being next to our Superman and Godzilla set. And as you can see, pretty much everything here, minus that smaller Superman, is a bit larger than these other figures next to them. And then we have a comparison here with Batman and Superman next to each other, obviously both the larger and smaller versions, showing you that, again, they are pretty much the same size. Then we also have a comparison with Godzilla and Kong next to each other, and as you can see, these figures look super cool next to each other. Obviously, Godzilla is a bit larger, but they make one incredible display together. And again, Godzilla-wise, I don't have all that many larger Godzilla figures down here. You know, I do have a good bit in storage and stuff, but not much down here in my collection room. Most of the Godzilla stuff usually goes to my son. But you can see that the GIANT Toys King of the Monsters Godzilla is pretty darn big as far as figures go, but obviously nowhere near as large as this Godzilla. I would say this Godzilla is definitely very similar in size to the newer like large Playmates version that had come out, but I think maybe slightly larger overall. So this brand new MacFarlane Toys Godzilla vs. Superman set is pretty cool. I definitely like this set better than I liked the Batman vs. Kong set, just because of course it's Godzilla and I love Godzilla, definitely more so than I like Kong. But also I think the Superman figure looks really nice in this set, both of them actually, but the Superman and Batman figures in these sets are honestly like on another level. They are really well done, by far some of the best articulated figures that I have ever had the pleasure of acquiring and adding to my collection, and you know, very highly detailed, like extremely impressively well detailed and very nicely painted. So as a whole, again, absolutely, if you are a collector of Batman or Superman, I very much so recommend these sets for those figures. But for me, the star of the show is of course Godzilla here, and the Godzilla figure absolutely does not disappoint. The paintwork may not be absolutely incredible, but it's pretty good. I don't really love the dry brushing on it, but it doesn't look terrible at the same time. It does at least add a little extra to it, and I do like that they have applied like a beige dry brushing to the underside. That's nice, you know, a nice little addition to the figure overall. And I think in general, again, when it comes to the sculpt, it is one of the most magnificent looking Godzilla figures, especially when it comes to the legendary style of Godzilla, that I have ever seen. It's extremely impressive when it comes to the detailing aspect. It's also extremely impressive when it comes to how vibrant the detail looks. It would be a really fun one to repaint and try to give a more high quality paint job to, because it absolutely has the sculpt for it, and it really does demand a very impressive paint application. The articulation, just like with Kong, is a little lacking. There's not a whole lot to it. It's very basic articulation, and not all of it works that well. Like the jaw doesn't articulate very well at all. The tail doesn't either, except for the wire aspect of it. Like that works okay, but it also doesn't give you a massive amount of mobility, at least as far as like what I've done with it so far. I bend it, it kind of seems like it ends up just kind of falling back into place a little bit, so it is what it is, but the articulation is all right on the figure. Either way though, it is still super impressive looking in person. So if you are interested in this set, I will include a link in the description to where I purchased mine on Amazon.com. So check that link, grab it if you want it, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.